Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Life, Spirit, and the Messy Middle. I'm Maria. Now, if you're new here, definitely go and check out my other videos. But if you're not, then you already know things can get a little quirky, a little fun. Occasionally, they can become a little bit intense because, as you know, I do the tarot and they can get weirdly specific sometimes, which is always interesting. Today, I will probably be a bit on the intense side because I want to talk about something that has been explored across cultures and religions and spiritual traditions for thousands of years, and that's called reincarnation. And perhaps something even more controversial, I suppose, and that would be the idea of walk-ins. However, before I get into it, just a quick note to say everything I share on this channel is for entertainment purposes only, and I suppose personal reflection. And these are my interpretations, my beliefs, and I'm speaking, of course, as an intuitive, as a tarot reader, an empath who is really learning, and I hope you do too, to never dismiss the truth and the power that we hold within ourselves. Okay? Now, this is just how I see it. And obviously, I welcome you to see it whatever way you believe as well. Okay? Now, I have been doing some research into both reincarnation and walk ins. And what I found is a lot deeper and more layered than what people usually talk about. Now, I won't be going too deeply into those layers today, but I will be giving you some of the nuances of what these two spiritual concepts mean and why I think and believe that some religions don't want us to know about them. Okay, so let's first start with reincarnation. Now, reincarnation at its core is the idea that the essence of who you are, your soul, your consciousness, or whatever you want to call it, doesn't end when your body dies. And instead, it continues and begins a new life in a different body. Now, some traditions may describe this as the soul moving from one form to another, while others describe it more like a stream of consciousness continuing forward. And this isn't some modern spiritual trend because this belief has shown up in some of the oldest religions in the world. For example, in Hinduism, the soul, or what they call the Atman, is considered eternal. It moves through many lifetimes in a cycle called the samsara, and it's shaped by karma. So everything you do, every action, every intention has an impact on what comes next. In Buddhism, it's a little different. There isn't a permanent soul in the same way, and instead it's more like a continuation of the consciousness, and the goal it isn't to come back per se, but to eventually actually break free from the cycle altogether. Then you have, and this is something I didn't know actually existed, Jainism, where karma is almost treated like a substance that attaches to the soul, and it keeps it bound to the cycle of rebirth. Okay. Sikhism also is another one, which also teaches that your actions influence your future lives. Okay, a little bit like Buddhism, but also it places a strong focus on the understanding and connecting with God, okay, so that you could move beyond that cycle. Now, interestingly, I also found out that even in belief systems that don't officially accept reincarnation, there are still traces of it. In fact, in some factions of Jewish mysticism, especially within the Kabbalah, there's this concept of, it's actually called the cycling of souls, where a soul may turn to, or may return to complete something that it feels it didn't quite finish. Even early Christian thinkers like Origen of Alexandria, for example, back in 185 to 254 CE, explored the idea of the soul existing before the body. Although, unfortunately, those ideas were actually later rejected. Now, on the other hand, most mainstream Abrahamic religions like Christianity today, Islam, and Judaism don't accept reincarnation whatsoever. They follow a very different structure: one life, one death, and then, of course, final judgment. Now, from this perspective, reincarnation can't really fit because it changes the meaning of accountability and justice and even salvation. If you have multiple lives, I suppose, in their way of thinking, it shifts the urgency of this particular life. One life, your one only life. That's the point I'm trying to get across. There's also the question of memory. And if you're being held accountable, I suppose, for actions of a previous life that you don't even remember, is that really fair to them? I suppose that's one of the biggest arguments against believing in reincarnation. Okay? Now, I suppose from a spiritual perspective, some would say that, and this is my belief too, that the soul does remember, even if the conscious mind doesn't. So, in having those thoughts, okay, let's move on to something, like I said before, even more controversial and modern, and that's called the walk-in. Okay. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit more unusual for some, and that is that the idea of a walk-in is, instead of a body or of a soul being born into a body, a soul can enter that body while it's already living. So the original soul leaves and another soul takes over. And according to this belief, this usually happens during a major turning point in our lives, like a trauma, a near-death experience, deep depression. And this would normally occur while you are sleeping, okay? And it's not something that's negative. It's often described as kind of an agreement, okay? And the original soul has obviously completed what it came here to do, or maybe it doesn't want to continue and another soul steps in to continue that life. People who believe they've experienced this often describe a sudden shift. Their personality may change, their interests change, sometimes even their relationships feel different. There can be memory gaps, a sense of disconnection from the past or who they think they are. Some even say it feels like waking up as a completely different person, but still in that same body. It's also very important that we separate this idea from the things like possession or attachment, because in this belief system, walk-in is intentional and neutral, or even positive, not invasive. Okay, and this concept became more worldly or wildly known through a lady called Ruth Montgomery in the 1970s, when she came out with a book called Strangers Among Us. Now, whether you see this as a spiritual truth, a psychological response to trauma, or something symbolic, it doesn't raise it does raise some interesting questions about the identity. For example, what actually makes you you? Is it your memories, your personality, your soul, or something else entirely? And if those things can shift or feel like they've shifted, what does that say about the nature of the conscious or the consciousness? Now, for me, what stood out most while doing this research, of course, is that across all these different beliefs, whether ancient or modern, there's a shared idea that life might not be as simple as linear as what we've been taught to think. There's this underlying theme of growth, of evolution and continuation, and not necessarily in a strict literal sense for everyone, but enough to make pause and consider the possibility that there's more on the surface or beneath the surface. I'd love to know what you think about all of this. So definitely leave a comment below and write me an email. I'll leave my email below as well. The comments. Oh, in the description box. But do you believe in reincarnation? Because if you ask me if I believe in reincarnation, yes. Well, I think my channel subjects would suggest that I don't follow the normal belief system. So I believe the fact that Abrahamic religions don't actually believe in reincarnation because they have an ulterior motive. And in my way of seeing this, is it's a very cruel ulterior motive, because Abrahamic religions like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism believe in salvation, free will, and divine justice, and that's all well and good. But they push believers to act with an urgency during this life. It's a need for repentance, and it's almost acted on with a coldness and not real love at all. They expect us to only act on the knowledge that our time here is finite. And to me, that is a form of cruelty and oppression. It's almost like a mafia-like mentality that is dominated by total subservience, mandatory secrecy, and intense fear tactics. Now, in my way of thinking, I don't believe God or as I call it, source, is judgmental in any way, or any of the things that I have mentioned the Abrahamic religions to be. I don't believe we are meant to live a life of cruel dismissiveness um, or subjectiveness. I certainly don't believe in limitation, at least when it comes to what we are allowed to think and believe in. Okay? But in saying that, I don't believe also that I should go on and on about religion. Okay. Now I will assume you understand what I mean when I talk about, belief systems and, the free will to be able to do what we feel is right. That doesn't mean that you have to go on and hurt people, okay? Because that is not a moral, conscious thing to do, okay? That is not what I believe in God represents. Of course, there are limitations to what you should do, but I don't think there is limitations to what you should believe in. I don't believe in the suppression of free speech, for example. You are allowed to believe in what you want. That doesn't mean that you should act on everything, okay? Now, so that I don't carry on and on and on about what my beliefs are, because we all believe in different things and you are allowed to. That's the beauty of that, okay? I will now do the cards. Now, probably want to ask some specific questions. I really want to ask the tarot cards. Should we believe in reincarnation? Is it real? Or are some people, like myself, for example, making it up because we don't want to believe that our lives are actually limited? Now, this card fell out, okay? The Magician, and I'm laughing because this card basically is saying that we have everything at our disposal, okay? If we really want to know, then we have that knowledge at our disposal. So I don't believe it is fake, okay? Because otherwise there wouldn't be any knowledge of it. True knowledge, anyway. But let me ask Spirit, okay? Is reincarnation real? Is reincarnation real? Okay. All right, so I got first the Page of Swords, and to me, what I'm getting from this card, and do remember please that I know what the cards mean. I know what they originally have written in depictions and what they're supposed to traditionally mean, but I read cards intuitively, and to me this is representing the fact that reincarnation is still a very young sort of knowledgeable truth, okay, in the sense of we're still very immature, okay, to really understand what it means. But it is truthful. Okay, it is an honest thing. It just doesn't. We're just not able to yet cope with the amount of knowledge that is needed to truly understand its concept. Okay. Um, let's get another card. Okay. And let's ask, because we are limited and immature, okay, humanity is still very immature to know a lot of things, but we are moving towards evolution. We are evolving. We are starting to wake up. I mean, everything that is happening in today's world is the beginning of that. So, will humanity? Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay. Um, I'm not going to take these cards. I got the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Pentacles, but I'm not going to take those cards because I want a more concrete answer. So, will humanity evolve and get more knowledge of reincarnation? Too many cards. Sorry, all these cards fell, so I won't grab that. Okay. Now, please take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. And I know I take a long time to shuffle, but I just want to put my energy and my thoughts into it so that spirit can give me the correct answer. Okay. Okay, so I got the 10 of Wands. I got the 9 of Cups. And the 3 of Cups. Okay. Now, first of all, with the cups, it's in my belief system, okay, in my way of reading the cards, is that, and traditionally also, the cups symbol emotion. So in my way of interpreting the cups is that this is still a very emotional subject, because most people don't want to believe in reincarnation, okay, because then they have more accountability. in essence, okay, they have more accountability in essence. The first card I got was the 10 of Wands. The 10 of Wands to me, and traditionally also, is the carrying of a burden, okay? And when I got that first card, the Page of Swords, it was depicting the fact that, well, it was telling us that we are still too green to be able to understand the concept of reincarnation, because there's too many, like I've said before, there's too many layers to it. So if there's so many layers to the concept of reincarnation and walk-ins, then what we're going through at the moment and the beginning of our awakening, it is too much of a burden to put on us. Will we eventually find out and know about reincarnation and accept it? Yes. Yes, we will. Okay, that is a wish that many people have. Um, all these cups, I suppose, represent wishes that humanity have, that they want to know. And in that cup here that the man is holding, that is the wish that has been granted. So yes, we will find out about reincarnation. We will finally get answers to it. But I don't think that it's going to be like, aha, this is what we found. I think it's going to be coming from this awakening. Because as we awaken to the truths of why we're, of humanity and its history that we will also find out about, and what we have been taught to believe, we will then start to remember consciously, okay, of why we're here, why we came here, what are we doing here. Living one life and then dying, regardless of what that life is going to give you, is a really cruel way of God putting us on this earth. Okay? We are not rats. We have souls. We have energies. We are not specimens for God to play with. Okay? And I do not believe that He does, or that it does. I don't want to really refer to Him because that is a very religious way of looking at it. This God isn't a little man on in the heavens, okay, telling us what to do, like movies have depicted it to be, okay? But yes, we will find out the truth. We will learn about reincarnation, about walk-ins. And I truly believe that we, in deeply within us, we already know. We're just too afraid to admit anything, really, to admit truth. But we're getting there. We're getting there, okay? We have to also understand that, we need to learn to forgive ourselves because we are born into a very cruel 3D world, which I actually consider hell, because when we die, we go back to source. This is the planet of where the planet we come to learn, the planet we come to rectify for what we've done in past lives. And please understand that we do not rectify every single thing that we have done in past lives in this current life. We keep coming back to learn until we do basically learn from our mistakes. And in a way, that's infinite. Okay? I don't believe that we'll ever learn because we're always making mistakes and we're always learning from them. Even as humans, you know, in everyday life, we make mistakes and we learn from them while we're here as well. So I hope you know what I'm trying to convey. I hope you know what I'm trying to say. Now, the last card I got is the Three of Cups. Now, what I get from this card is the fact that we should be able to celebrate, yes, in the knowledge that we come to know, okay, in the knowledge that we have or that we are beginning to learn about. And again, I also believe that this is telling us that we need to just be happy to live this life, to be able to come here and to have free will and to be able to choose whatever it is and path that we want in life. Celebrate the fact that we come here to live this human existence. Now, are there human existences that are difficult and painful and traumatic? Of course there is. Again, that is put forward so that you learn, because in a past life, you have probably done something to someone else, or you have created a situation where other people have gone through what you have gone through in this lifetime, okay, or in the lifetimes that you will have in the future. So you are here, and you came here specifically so that you can learn what it was that they went through, and you don't continue doing it again. Okay? Celebrate the fact that it is an opportunity for you to learn and to grow and to evolve. Okay? Now, I want to ask a specific question, okay? And that question is, has humanity reincarnated during this lifetime that we are all going through at the moment, specifically to learn from what is happening at the moment? Have we reincarnated in this lifetime right now significantly to learn to never recreate what is happening right now? Just card fell. Wow. That just fell, okay? I know you can't see the cards. I'm sorry about that. I will, get a system one of these days that can see the cards, can see me shuffling while I'm talking to you, because, for those non-believers out there, and that's fine. You can believe in what you like. But this card just fell, okay? And I'm going to leave it here, because I can tell you now that this card is basically saying that what we're going through right now is almost like, it's almost, I won't say addiction, but it's something we have repeated over and over and over and over again, okay? It's almost like we're addicted to, death, destruction, and chaos, okay? Because that's what the card represents. It represents everything that we feel chained to, that we feel we can't escape from, okay? And addictions are those things. Sometimes we're so addicted to something that we don't feel we can escape from. But we can, because when in some aspects, okay, the fire is behind, okay? If you can see, the fire is behind. But those two figures that devil is looking upon is basically, they're basically free. They're not really trapped, okay? They can leave anytime they want, which basically means that you are free to make your own choices, and therefore move away from whatever it is that is not serving you or doesn't make you happy or that is trapping you into whatever you think is inflicting you. You are free to move. You just have to find a way to do it. Be strong enough to do it. Okay? And I believe that this card is telling us that we have come here to move away from this. We've got now, this is it. This is the choice. This is our time to break free of the chains of the past and not keep repeating chaos, destruction, wars, famine, and hatred, and racism, and bigotry, and all those horrible things that humanity has done to one another, okay, through thousands of years. This is it. This is our chance to break free from it. Now I ask you, how are you doing that in your current life? How are you doing that? Are you just leaving it and hoping it goes away? Are you putting things in place to help you move away? Are you doing research to help you get out of whatever system you feel like you're in? Because if you're not, then you're just contributing to your own oppression. Okay? Mwah. I am going to leave you at that. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you subscribe and you like and leave me a comment and understand that, you know, my subjects aren't for you to, you know, either believe or not believe. They're not for you to, you know, go one way or the other. Sometimes it's okay to stay in that messy middle, but I would urge that in this occurrence, that in this time and space, that you just venture out a little bit. Maybe don't stay in that messy middle this time and just move forward with something better. Love you all. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.